Assalom deganda ochilgan gullar, assalom deganda sayrar bulbullar, assalom deganda alik olursiz, ushbu bayram sovg'amizni qabul qilursiz. Assalomu alaikum, dear ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our special event. Today we are celebrating Alisher Nawai's birthday, who is a very important person for all Turkic languages for Central Asia. And I would like our great teacher Marika to give a speech before we start. Welcome.
So, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to the event of celebration of Alisher Nawai's birthday. Alisher Nawai was born in 1441 in February 9th, and recently in Uzbekistan we celebrated 572nd his birthday. It is every year in Uzbekistan we are celebrating Alisher Nawai's birthday to show our great appreciation to the great Uzbek hero, great historical figure, statesman, poet, which did a tremendous, job for the developing of the Uzbek and generally, I think, the earlier, Turkic language. So he is considered as a founder of the Uzbek literature. He wrote, about 100,000 lines of the poems. He wrote about 30, the great literature works. And he also did a lot, I think, for the prosperity, for the development of the Khorasan, the country where he lived. He was born in Herat in 1941, as I told, and died in Herat in 1501. So, why Alisher Nawai is celebrated widely in Uzbekistan? Why he is considered as a hero and a great historical figure for the Uzbek people, not only for Uzbek people, it's also for all Turkic and the Persian world. Because he did an incredibly, I think, great job for the developing, as I told, the old Uzbek, the language and the Turkic language. And he also wrote the poems in Persian too. I told that he was also, politicians and a great, the statesman. He served for a long time, as an advisor and vizier, minister, and also the prime minister for Sultan Hussein Baykara. And he did a great job for developing the country Khorasan. So many of you who are studying history of Central Asia know that Central Asia was divided into two big countries in the 15th century. Khorasan with the capital Herat, and Mawara-un-Nahr with the capital Samarkand. So today in Uzbekistan, I think, the biggest national park in Tashkent, named after Alisher Navai, where we every year celebrating a great, a New Year celebration, Nowruz. The metro named after Alisher Navai, the theater in Tashkent named after Alisher Navai, Samarkand State University named after Alisher Navai, and many streets in every city. We have a lot of places named after Alisher Navai. We have also the city called Navai, not far from the Bukhara, and between the Bukhara and Samarkand, named Navai, and the Navai province. So today, our Uzbek students, American students who are taking Uzbek, they're going to perform a small sketches from the movie which was made in 1943 during the Second World War. It was Soviets decided to make films about the heroes, and for the Uzbek nation, the Alisher Navai was chosen, and the movie was made. They will perform the sketch about this period about Alisher Navai and the Hussein Baikara, the period this little bit shows how was great Alisher Navai. Also, Uzbek students today going to perform his poems, his aphorisms, and some his rubayis. Okay, once again, thank you very much for coming to this event, and I don't want to talk too much about his works, literary works and books and other stuff he did. I think that Nick Walmsley, he's a PhD student whose dissertations are related to Alisher Navai. Now would like to tell, a little bit more about Alisher Navai.
Good evening, everyone. Mufarrah asked me to say a few words about Alisher Navai by way of introduction to tonight's proceedings, because apparently she's the only person in Sousse who hasn't heard me yakking on about Navai for the past 4 years or so. Related to that, it would not be immodest of me to point out that beyond Bloomington, in places where people don't know my name, which, come to think of it, does include Navai, because apparently nobody in Bloomington knows how to spell my name, including local businesses and my own employers. That beyond Bloomington, amongst my colleagues and amongst my not quite colleagues, I am known as, quote unquote, that guy who studies Alisher Navai. Fortunately, presenting these comments precludes me from any further participation in tonight's events, which will come as welcome news to anyone who has heard me try to speak and unfortunately mangle any Turkic and Indo-Iranian languages. Once a couple of years ago, when I thought I was having a very good Uyghur conversation with Gulnisa here, she says to me at the end of it, "Yes, your Uzbek is very good, let's try and speak Uyghur." On a more serious note, I am very happy to be here at this event, for which I thank Mufarrah and the Uzbek Students and Scholars Association for organizing, as well as the other relevant departments, centers and units involved. Because I believe that the idea of putting aside a day to celebrate the life and work of a writer is a noble and worthy conceit. Indeed, it is so noble and worthy that, for example, on January the 25th every year, Scotsmen and Scotswomen organise the legacy of Rabbie Burns by drinking whiskey, eating tatties and neeps, and toasting the haggis, king of the puddin' race. On June the 16th, Bloomsday, Irishmen and Irishwomen reenact scenes from Ulysses in the streets of Dublin in honor of James Joyce. And more recently, on June the 6th, Russian speakers have started celebrating Pushkin. The question, therefore, is how to celebrate Navai. Hopefully, tonight's proceedings will provide a fitting tribute. Min Nizamuddin Alisher Navai, Navai being the pen name that he used in his Turkic poetry, usually translated as the melodious, while in Persian he referred to himself as Fani, the learned, was born in Herat, where he lived and died in 1401, with interludes for study in Samarkand and elsewhere. He was born into a family of bakhshis, or scribes, described by one 16th century historian, Mirza Haydar Duglat, as Uyghurs, who had close connections to the Timurid dynasty. He grew up with one of the princes, Hussein Mirza Baikara, of whom more anon, and they reportedly swore a pact to support one another for the rest of their lives. After Hussein ascended to the throne of Herat in 1469, he sent for Alisher, who was then studying in Samarkand, and together they formed a formidable team. The classicist among you might think of the example of the Emperor Octavian and Maecenas. After an early dalliance with political office, Alisher formally retired from affairs of state, though he continued to exert an influence in a palpable and monumental sense. He oversaw some 370 major construction works of a mainly public nature, representing the greater part of the built legacy of the Timurid dynasty in Khorasan. He supported innumerable artists and poets, for example, the calligrapher Sultan Ali Mashhadi, the miniature painter Behzad, and, most especially, his dear friend, the poet and Sufi, Jami. And he established a foundation, or waqf, which consisted of a mosque, a madrasa, a hostel, a hospital, and bathhouse in Herat. In the words of one biographer, he turned Herat into a repository of learning for the whole world. Another, no less a figure than Babur, remarked that everyone exerted themselves to the best of their ability in order to satisfy him. He never married and never had children, and most of his personal life appears to have been preoccupied with literary salons and the company of a handful of close friends, such as Jami and his major domo Mir Sahib Dara. Towards the end of his life, he went into seclusion at the shrine center of Gazorgar, north of Herat, where he tended to the tomb of Abdullah Ansari, the peer of Herat. Ultimately, in 1501, he died. The citizens of Herat were distraught. One historian records, quote, "In commiseration with the grief-stricken and the disconsolate, the blue sky drew on an indigo robe of clouds, and instead of tears, poured down drops of rain." But, as another poet remarked, tears are like the fresh rains of spring, following which all life grows. After his death, his work has continued to flourish, tended and nurtured by poets and readers as a gardener tends his rosebed. During his life, Navai composed some 30 works of prose and poetry, 4 collections or divans of short Turkic poems, 1 divan of short Persian poems, a quintet, khamsa, of masnavis, epic poems in Turkic based on classical Arabic and Persian tales, a biographical dictionary, or tezkira, of Sufi saints, a tezkira of poets, a translation of 40 hadiths, treatises on riddles and prosody, a memoir to Jami, and many others. As you may have noticed, Navai was bilingual, equally adept in Persian and Turkic. He was deeply and profoundly inspired and influenced by the classical Persian poets, Hafez, Emir Khusrau, Nizami, Jami, and sought to model his own poetry in both languages on their work. His genius lay in his ability to translate their themes and concepts into Turkic while retaining an identifiable and unique authorial voice. In one example of this literary influence, he completed a trifecta of Persian masnavis that began with the Darya al-Abra of Emir Khusrau, was continued by Jami's Lujat al-Asra, and topped off with Navai's Tufat al-Afkhar, a stirring paean to Jami that begins with the portentous strophe. The fiery ruby which adorns the crown of Khusrau is a burning coal that broils raw ideas in his head. The Qasida continues in this theme. Unhappy Khusrau will be the ruin and downfall of the kingdom. Nabai's work covers the full range of the human experience: love, hate, life, death, war, peace, friendship, solitude. The structure of classical Persian and Turkic poetry, with its reliance on pairs of lines, baits, allows for the juxtaposition of contrasting concepts and themes. It also allows for the extension and tidy resolution of metaphors and similes. For example, he wrote, and this is translated from Persian, "My heart in your hand is a bird in the hand of a child, who neither kills it, nor lets it go, nor makes a cage for it." Ultimately, he was also sure to appeal to the highest heavens when seeking inspiration, as the conclusion to one ghazal makes clear, this time translated from the Turkic. "O teacher, among the lovers, give a song to Nabai, so that he may sing your praises in his tongue." Beginning in his own lifetime, Nabai's influence and example spread far and wide. From Constantinople, the Ottoman sultans ordered copies of his divan. The Timurid cadet Babur, fruitlessly campaigning against the Shibanids, corresponded with Nabai, hoping to impress him with his poetry. After the Timurid dynasty had been brought to an end by the Safavids in Khorasan and the Shibanids in Mawara Nahar, their cultural legacy continued to be celebrated and sought after, not least the legacy of Nabai. In the Ottoman Empire, knowledge of, quote-unquote, language of Nabai was considered a mark of an educated man. In Safavid Iran and Mughal India, literary historians praised the writing and public works of Nabai, highlighting him as the model of the intellectual engagé. And in Central Asia, copies of works circulated at the courts of the Shibanids, the Arab Shahids, and the Tokai Timurids. But it is arguably with the establishment of a new set of dynasties in the 18th century, the Kongrats of Khiva, the Mangits of Bukhara, and the Ming of Kokand, that Nabai Khanlik enjoyed its greatest flowering in Central Asia. The 19th century historian of Khiva, Munis, remarked, "The spirit of Nabai is my teacher." In this age, all poets turn to Nabai, not simply to imitate him, but also to emulate him. The number of manuscript copies that have survived from this century outnumber all others from other centuries put together. By the time the Soviet Union established the borders of modern-day Central Asia, Nabai was already an established feature of the cultural landscape from whom all currents of literary production emanated. Thank you.
Nabai's last work, Muhammad al-Lughatin, The Trial of Two Languages, is a comparison of Turkic and Persian and was completed in December 1499. Nabai believed that language was a strong power to keep the nations united. He claims that the nation that has a perfect language will recognize its destiny because language unites people. In Uzbek history and literature, he is the first writer to write in Turkic language while everyone else was using Farsi. Uzbeks consider him the founder of the Uzbek language. In the following scene, Alishir Nabi recites his poems to his friend Sultan Hussein Boykaro among scholars and writers of Sarai, and debates with another popular writer of that time, Binoi, about use of Turkic language in literature.
Your Majesty, when a wise man reaches riches, he is fair and generous to all his subjects. It is a true justice for a king to reveal a fair way. He shows mercy to friends, but drives enemies away. My generous king, always know your place. Whether forgiving or furious, treat the people with grace. Kill the murderer, that devil, with a sword of complete rage, stop the disaster of the people at a blow and take revenge. If the king act not, his people's grief to relieve, will the nation be blessed? Will the king in his people's hearts be esteemed? But if the king is just, and the people are of like mind, the nation will be blessed, the country prosper.
What a wonderful and exemplary poem, my friend. When a wise man reaches riches, he shall be a fair man and a generous man to all of his subjects. But this sounds like something more suitable to the common people. Let's see what our poet, our great and honorable poet Binois has to say about that.
Your Excellency, real poems are written in Farsi. Farsi is as refined as a precious stone.
Ah, but Binois and your majesty, there are many refined and yet unknown aspects of the Turkic language. It is like a blossoming garden, yet we have not walked through it.
The language of the common folk has no capacity to express fineness.
Shame on you, Binois. You were born in Samarkand. Are you not ashamed of rejecting the language with which your mother sang you lullabies?
Look, Mavoye, spit the words of the common folk out of your mouth, and we will all recognize you as the greatest and most talented of poets.
But these same common words have come out of your mouth.
Did I recite a poem in Turkic?
Your answer is clever, Binois, but shame on you, for why fill your clean mouth with a filthy word?
Yes.
My king, Yadgar has taken the castle at Herat.
What? What is this you say? Maybe I should cut out thy tongue. Gather all the princes and we shall march to Herat.
Your Excellency,
Yes, speak.
tonight the zodiac of our Aziz the Hussein Boykara is human, and that is very dangerous for us. Furthermore, the position for Mars is threatened. Blood will be spilled.
Such a prediction would be very difficult to make. But I must say, Your Majesty, the stars move according to primal and eternal principles. Even great Ulugh-Bek's celestial table proves that our destiny is not guided by the stars.
Ulugh-Bek's disbelief cost him his life in present time. The ways of men and the stars are guided by the same path.
But Majiddin, if your house were on fire, would you consult the zodiac? We must to arms and meet Yadgar before he conquers the whole city.
I cannot go against the wishes of heavenly bodies.
Then I must find a solution myself.
And these were learners of Uzbek language at all levels. Thank you. And now let's start our competition. Okay, and I would like to start with volunteers. And please, everyone, anytime before deciding, say your name, English name, and Uzbek name also, because we have Uzbek names here, so that will be much easier for judges to know. Ahmad?
Hello, everybody. My name is Elliot Newton. I'm a second-year MA student within the SUS department. And my Uzbek name is Kahraman. Like my parents usually say, first is the worst. So I am going to attempt one more. Har kişi kim birevga kozgay çok, tuşkayl çok, uzra nagoh. Har kişinin kim sözü yogonesa, aylama bovar, neçe kim çindesa. He who digs a hole for others as a snare, himself will find entombment there. Once a man hath a false word spoken, trust in him is forever broken. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Chris Sorensen. I'm a second year MA student, also in SUS. Uzbek ismim Chingiz Khanov. İzzet kılısan kam de. Sihat kılısan kam ye. Barcha keşarasız. Barcha lazatne toptem. Ofyattan chichikrok sharbat topmadam. If that would be honored, speak less. If that would be healthy, eat less. As sweets have I tasted, a wealth, and found no sweet as health. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Benjamin Burnett. I'm a master's student at NELC, and my Uzbek name is Bahadur. And I'm going to recite one of Alisher Navawi's ghazals to you. And the ghazal is a kind of love poetry. And in this particular poem, he's expressing his longing for his beloved. This may be a woman, but it could also be God, like a longing for the knowledge of God, which the poet finds somewhat elusive as well. عشق داشتن هیچ غربت کش مسافر کنسان ین غریب داشت را کرکنده کافر کنسان یار منگز فرحال و مجنون آلیدا کبسون نکم با تمنین درد و داغن أهل ظاهر والمصان ظاهر نقل تيرا يا رب كم أنين رخصارنا عرفني كوز ممكن إسا أهل ظاهر والمصان هر بقشدا قتل عام aylar كوزن كم دحرلي هيج كم نسن كبي وفندا ماهر والمصان وإذا كوب واسخلدين Sahirning sihrini hazır olurken seni kul bozu sahir kuramasın. Kim ki aşıklık asırıdır tahayyül verlehem. İşk oyda bozun asuda hatır kurmasın. Kim navaidek fena vad istida ister huzur keç sunozden belki khud Ozluk namazı koymasın.
Oz organim tono bolor katlı yigü daryo bolor yigidikta yo ilning makzani karlik chogi harsh gil ani. Learning is knowledge acquired in small portions, as drops make the river that flow to the ocean. Knowledge is to be hoarded in youth and spent in age.
name's Miriam Woods, and I'm also in SUS. It's my third year. I'm an MA student. And I actually have two poems because in the spirit of Navajo, I thought one should be Persian and one should be Turkic. So that's what I'm going to try to do for you. I'll do the Turkic one first. Ey nav bahar arezim. Sorry, I'm not doing this. Ey nav bahar arezim. Subikhe can perver hava. Andin gül bulbul tabın. Yüz berg birle münneva. Tubi u şahi sidrudur. Kuyum nigekim. Uşak aşk و آهیدن. Uşak aşk و آهیدن. Her dem tahur suyuha. Zehri firakindin. Qayu aşıqa boldu tahkam. Nushi visalin yetmese. İsa ana tapmaz dava. چون قاضی الحاجات سن دوای مرن قلقله درد و فراق اندوهیدن کرتور میشم اشکی گوا قلمان قبول ایجادının imkanı yok sömürü gene قلمان قبول İcadının imkanı yok sömürene makbulni ret eylemek lütfunden bolgay mu rava zahir kömülnin xilvetten matlubi gayridin erit sen seyir kılsan kıl kirek kömlünge bolsa inziva disen navayi can ara محبوب بولغای cilveger evvel könül közgüsidin mehv eyler nakşi masva I have one in Persian because we can't forget that he wrote Persian. هوایی روح بخش است و می صاف و بهاری خوش ولی که خوش نماید این همه گر نیست یاری خوش مرا گر یار خوش باشد بود کافی که خواهد بود ز عشق او هوایی خوش ز رخسارش بهاری خوش ز می گل گل شده باغ رخش ای دل تماشا کن که بشکفته است باغ دلبری را لاله‌زاری خوش مرا روزی که بودی کامها یک یک فلک برو بود فلک را شرم باد و یاد باد آن روزگاری خوش بشد کاز یار دارم نقش روی خویش اندر دل بشد کاز یار دارم نقش روی خویش اندر دل هم از یادش خوشم هم دارم ای دل یادگاری خوش ز بحر و کان چشم و دل ز هجرت در و لعلم هست به وصلت گر رسم در پایت افشانم نثاری خوش تو را چون رام شد آن آهوی وحشی کنون ای دل فرو چین دام را کافتاد در دستت شکاری خوش دلا پر ناخوشت میبینم از آسیب مخموری به دو جام پرآپر میتوان دفع خماری خوش رقیب آواره گشت و یار باشد پیشت ای فانی رقیب آواره گشته یار باشد پیشت ای فانی به شکر حق زبان بگشا که داری کردگاری خوش. Thank you.
İyi akşamlar. Good evening, everybody. I'm Aybike. I'm from Turkey, and I'm going to recite a Nevai poem, which is in Azerbaijani because my mother tongue is Azerbaijani. It's from Ferhat ve Shirin Divanı. It's a very small part of it. It's the Shirin's letter to Ferhat. Möhnət yazısıdır bu qəmlinamə. Demə ki, şəmiden pərvanəyədir. Sərəndərdən yanan otxanəyədir. Yəni mən xəstənin zəif canından, məlalət qələsi pasıbanından. Sənədir, olmuşdur qələm qəm dağı, ey dağlardan uca, sonsuz fərağı. Necədir əhvalin bir kəs qəribim, vüsal dövlətindən ey bi nəsibim. Söylə, tükendi mi səbri qərarın? De görüm, necədir o cismi zarın? Necəsən tüşəli, ağır qürbətə? Təqadin qaldı mı acı firqədə? Üzəli qəlbini hecran, necəsən? Olalı varlığın alqan, necəsən? Ürəyin saçımı yada salır mı? Dünyan gecə kimin, heç qaralır mı? Qaşın məhrabını yad eyləyəndən, ay kimi qəmədin, heç olur mu xəm? Gözüm üçün dönəndə ürəyin qana, söylə, başlayır mı bəla tuğyana? Kirpiyim qəmiyle nalə edərkən, hər tüyün olur mu söylə bir tikən? Gözümün qarasın ananda ey yar, cismində artır mı sızlayan dağlar? Yanağım düşəndə de xiyalına, gözyaşı axır mı gül cəmalına? Xalım açan zaman qəlbində yara, getirir mi səni mirçəklər zara? Hecrimdə gözündən su tökülür mü? Güneş rühsarına baxıb gülür mü? Saçır mı gözlərin ləlim için yaş? Lələ çevrilir mi o yaşla hər daş? Xiyalən görəndə məni gözündən, dinib danışırsan heç öz-özündən. Düşəndə yadına şirin də xanım, vardın mı heçliyə, a mehribanım? Şirin məktub ilə getdi xəlvədə, ürəyi dözmədi dərd-ü möhnədə. Aldı qərarını ələm dəstanı, belə yazılmışdı bu qəm dəstanı.
Besides Indiana University students, we have two more students from Michigan, and unfortunately they couldn't come to participate today, but they recorded their recital and sent to us, and I would like to put it now, please. And actually it was video, but unfortunately that's because of my fault. We don't have LCD projector to play them on a screen, but they did recite them. We guarantee, and actually we can just show it through laptop. The first recital will be Eugene Hong. And the second one will be Eugene Bondarenko. Eugene Hong.
Men Michigan Üniversitede okuyman. Assalamu alaikum, ben Yıldızman. Men Michigan Üniversitede okuyman. Bugün ben siz için Alisher Navoy'nin Turtlik 먹지만 Aytır sözüne ait, aitmaz sözden kayıt. Bir fayda sözüne kop aitma, faydalı sözüne kop eşçülüden kayıtma. Tazmakoy. If it ought to be said, let it be heard. If it better unsaid, Mom is the word. Spurn the company of whose talk is vague, but give ear to the wise again and again. Lakma, salamat ulit.
And one more student, Eugene Bandarenko.
Assalamu alaikum. Mening ismi Евгений Бондаренко.
Ukrainalik aslen.
Assalamu alaikum. Mening ismi Евгений Бондаренко. Men Michigan Üniversitesi'nde magistratürada okuyapman. Men Uzbek tilini ikinci bosqichda o'rganaman. Indiana Distance programmada. Men Alisher Navoiyning she'r sizlar uchun o'qiyaman. Boshni fido qilg'il ato boshiga. Jismni qil sadqa ano qo'shig'a. Tun kununga aylgali nur fosh. Birisin oyangla, birisin quyosh. Hozir men tarjima qilaman. For the father's life, pay with thine own. For wrongs to the mother, the head shall stone. Sun and moon of the life are they, lighting the pathway, night and day. Kata rahmat, salamat bo'ling, khair.
Anybody else? Any volunteers? No more. And there is one more thing I forgot to do because I was so excited, but it's never late. I would like to introduce our judges today for our poetry recital, and they're all professors of CUS and very important people, and very important especially today. And Professor Gurlisa from CUS department, she's teaching Uyghur. And our Akram, Mr. Akram, I would say, but I can say Akram IK in Uzbek, like we say, and he works for IU Wells Library. And Professor Shahrani, he also professor in CUS department. As far as I know, he teaches history of Central Asia, politics. Anthropology, sorry. Anthropology. And Professor Rahman, we say Rahman Ake in Uzbek, he teaches costume and CUS department. And Professor Shahyar, he teaches Farsi, Persian in CUS department. Now I would like to give a time for our judges to judge and choose 3 best recitals. But while they are judging, we would like to make a little concert for you. It's also Turkic language concert. So, and let me introduce you my friend, my roommate, my mom, my sister, who I share the room with. And she is from Kazakhstan, and she is a Fulbright language teaching assistant, and she's teaching and assisting Kazakh in CUS department. Nowadays, she is developing materials for Kazakh students. Bigaim Adilkhanova.
Good evening.
welcome to such an amazing event. I'm very happy to be here with you, and just a few remarks. I'm from South Kazakhstan, the city Shymkent, which is not far away from Tashkent, the capital city of Uzbekistan, just 1.5 hour distance by car.
Right.
So I'm very close to Uzbekistan.
Right.
So this song is a Kazakh folk song about the beauty of ladies, how their singer misses their lady whom he fall in love, how he misses the motherland, picturesque places. So this song is really close to my heart because I'm far away from my family in Kazakhstan and I'm missing my 60-year-old son and mom. So please, I hope you enjoy it and support me. As usual, every Uzbek event never goes without Uzbek dance, which I am going to perform now. and let me introduce. My name is Mufarrah. I'm also Fulbright language teaching assistant, and I'm a teacher assistant of Malik Hojayev from Swiss department, and I'm teaching Uzbek, and I'm a culture ambassador. So this is one part of my mission, and I hope you will enjoy it. A little about Uzbek dance. So this dance will be this will be for the classical music because this is something related to Alisher Nawai's period, and so it's gonna be a little bit longer from the ones I used to do.
from the energetic songs I used to dance. But so it really represents the period of Alisher Nawai. And here, the message is a girl is singing a song about her lover and waiting for her to come, for him to come. Okay.
True